welcome to the Nomad Talks. I'm Safia, the co-founder of Nomad Junkies. If you're dreaming of men in kilts and the sound of bagpipes, well, you're at the right place. Today we're going to talk about living and working in Scotland with a working holiday visa. So let's welcome our guest, Kate Fields.
Hi,
Hi Kate, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm very good. Where are you right now?
So I'm in a small little town called Kirriemuir in Scotland. It's actually made famous by being the birthplace of J.M. Barrie, who wrote Peter Pan.
Oh, that's so exciting. For those of you that just tune in and have no clue what we're talking about, I'll put a link below in the comments to International Experience Canada with all the details. So basically, the working holiday visa, it allows Canadians between 18 and 35 to travel, live, and work for up to 12 months in Scotland, like Kate, but also in 30 other destinations. So, Kate, tell us what drove you to apply for a working holiday visa in Scotland? And we want to know the real story.
Yeah, so I was actually kind of in a rut. Work wasn't going great in a not so great relationship. So I was like, you know what? Now's the time for a change. Quit my job, broke up with a boyfriend, and in March of 2019, I applied for my working holiday visa. Since the age of 15, I've always wanted to come to the UK, but I could never quite put my finger on it. So that was my destination of choice. I went through an agency that helped me find a job, and they were actually the ones that put me into Scotland, which is how I ended up here, which is kind of cool because it's actually where my ancestors came from.
Oh, that's so fun. So, how long have you been in Scotland then?
Yep, so I've been over here since January of 2020, right before lockdown hit, and I am on a Tier 5 Youth in Mobility working holiday visa.
So, how do you make friends there, especially when you know no one in the country and that the Scottish accent is so hard to understand?
Yes, that it is, especially where I am. It's very, very thick. But for me, the friends that I've made, I met at my first job. We were all working at an outdoor adventure camp for children. So most of us were either up from the UK or up from further south in the UK, but also a lot of internationals as well. We had a couple people from Spain, a couple of Aussies, Kiwis, kind of a little bit of everything. So a lot of people that were on similar visas to myself. So that's actually how I started to make friends. We were only there for about 6 weeks before lockdown hit, but some of those friends I've kept in contact with, and we actually ended up moving to the same city. So we got to spend time together that way. I've also made friends through my Scottish boyfriend that I met, so his friends have become my friends as well.
That's very nice. So, now that you've been living there for a while, what would you say are the main differences between living in Scotland versus living in Canada? Did you have to adjust or to adapt? And did they make you learn how to play the bagpipes?
I've not had to learn how to play, but my fiance's sister does know how to play. And on Sundays, if you head into a town square, you can usually see someone out busking for money playing the bagpipes. It's actually gotten to the point where I can actually figure out what songs they're playing, which I never thought would happen. Um, Apart from driving on the left, there's not a lot of big changes, I'd say. It's a lot of little things. The whole, yes, we do have our washing machines in our kitchens. That is definitely a thing. The kettle is always hot and plugged in. One thing that I wasn't prepared for, though, is that actually in the UK, they use miles per hour instead of kilometers,
Okay. I thought it was
which
only in
that
the
one I was
States.
not prepared for. And then there's actually little power switches to each of the outlets. So you can actually turn the individual outlet on or off. Figured out the hard way whether it's on or off, whether
Right.
it's on or off. So there's those things.
when, when you plug in your electronics thinking that they're charging and then you wake up the next day and then they're not charged.
Yep. Also, because of like the buildings too, a lot of them are a lot older than they are in Canada. So you don't always get great Wi-Fi or great cell phone service in the building. It's one of those you kind of have to be by the window sometimes to get cell phone service.
I hear you. So, what type of work is available for people that are doing a working holiday visa in Scotland?
So the main ones are more the seasonal temporary jobs. Again, my first one was at an adventure camp. So working outside with children that way. A lot of other ones that are easy to get into are more hospitality based. So hotels, restaurants, when we moved into the city, I got a job in a restaurant there before the second lockdown hit. So now I'm actually working in a call center. So I've had my fair share of UK-wide accents and kind of getting used to those. So it's pretty much kind of almost whatever you can find, you can get into. Some friends of mine, they got into the bars, they got into the kitchens, got the hotels, some went back to the camps, the shops, pretty much whoever's hiring. A couple friends of mine that are over here as well are over here as teachers.
Okay.
So just kind of a little bit of everything.
So you mentioned the accent because of your work at the call center. So can you tell us what's the funniest or weirdest situation that happened to you because of being lost in translation with the Scottish accent?
A big one. What we would call pants, they call trousers.
Yes.
What they call pants is actually underpants. So that definitely gets some funny looks when you're talking to people about the pants that you're wearing, because we are talking about two different things.
Or if your pants are wet because of the rain.
Yep. That's definitely caused some confusion, especially like working at the camp when you're working with kids.
Can make a little awkward moment.
Just a few. That's like the biggest one, but sometimes like where I am, again, we're in a small town. Like it almost seems like every town has their own different accent.
Yeah.
Whereas in Canada, it's the same for a good chunk of it. But over here, every little town has their own different accent. So each time I'm traveling, it's adjusting to their accent and even the words that they say.
Yeah. I hear you. So now let's talk about money. Did you have any savings before you left for Scotland?
I had some, but not enough, because when I came over, I did travel around for a couple weeks.
Yeah.
So I did travel around. Wasn't quite prepared for that. Learned some tips and tricks. The meal deals in any of the shops are going to be your best friend, because you can walk into any grocery store, chemist, like pharmacy type of thing, and get like a sandwich, a bag of crisps, and I'm going to call it juice, but it's actually like a bottle of pop for like £4. So that's going to be your best friend. I definitely, looking back now, I would have saved more before coming over just to have that like safety net.
Yes, of course. And so would you say that the money that you earned during your working holiday visa was enough to cover your cost of living there?
Yep. So like when I came over, initially I was going to be living at on-site accommodations. So it wasn't really something we had to worry about. I ended up moving in with my Scottish boyfriend, and then we ended up getting in a flat together for a year. So I ended up working in a call center. It's not great money. It's pretty much minimum wage over here. But that plus his minimum wage job was enough to get us by to have our flat, pay our bills, get a cat, as well as save for holidays. We did a Scottish road trip last summer. We did England this year. We've got something planned for the new year as well. I'm going to Glasgow this weekend. I'm heading to Dublin next month, Malta in November. So it's not great, but it's enough to save to do what I want to do.
So you really made the most out of the travel part of the working holiday visa then?
That's what I came over here for. I was raised in the travel industry because my mom works in it. So I've done nothing but travel my entire life. So I came to travel and spent 18 months pretty much in lockdown. So now I'm making up for it.
And so what would you say your favorite places were?
Oh, gosh. Yeah, so in Scotland, I would probably say Edinburgh is like my number one. There's just so much to do there when it comes to the history, the culture, the food. You just get like a little bit of everything there. It's kind of got this small town feel, despite it being one of Scotland's larger cities.
I love
that. There are only five designated cities in Scotland, so we don't have a lot to go off of. Another one I would say is this cute little town called Pitlochry.
Okay.
Plenty of whiskey distilleries. They've got some local jewelers that are there. It's just if you're wanting like that cute, intimate town that isn't as popular as some of the other ones, that's a great spot to go. I would definitely hit up Inverness.
Okay.
Pretty much every town you get to, there's going to be a castle of some sort. Of course, near Inverness, there's Loch Ness, and you can go spotting for Nessie.
Have you seen it?
We went out looking. We didn't have any luck that day, but we thought we saw her, but
Oh, her.
so close. Another great spot to drive through, like if you can rent a car for a day, is to drive through they call it the Glens. It's more or less the Highlands. So you're gonna get those rolling hills, the steep Monroes, but the views driving through that is gorgeous. That's also where you can hit the Glenfinnan Aqueduct, which is made famous being the Harry Potter bridge.
Okay. Wow.
So that is great views if you can get to it.
Oh, impressive. You mentioned before the lunch deals. So I was wondering, do you have any more tips and tricks to travel cheap in Scotland?
Yep. Another one that's going to be your best friend. There's this pub chain over here called Spoons. Well, Weatherspoons, but we all call it a Spoons. You can actually get meal deals there as well at the pub. So you can get a burger, chips, fries, and an alcoholic drink for like £8. So if you do a meal deal for lunch at like a chemist and then a meal deal at Spoons for tea or dinner, 12 pound for your two main meals.
Then you're good to go.
You're good to go. There's also like if you like look online, there's great like free walking tours that you can get, whether like more so in the big cities, but you can do like free haunted walking tours through Edinburgh, which is amazing if you can get to it. So there's a lot of free options that they have over here. Or if you do plan on traveling a lot, you can actually sign up for the Heritage Trust, and it allows you to get into a lot of those historical places. Like if you're heading further south, you can do the Hadrian's Wall, which is kind of what separated Scotland from England. If you head further south, you can get Stonehenge in with that as well. Yeah, a great tool for me is there's actually a Canadians in the UK Facebook group.
Okay.
As well as a Canadians in Scotland Facebook group. So they've been huge in getting those little like local aspects of people being in other towns. And if you're feeling homesick, it's nice to talk to people from the same area. So
I was going to ask you, what advice would you give to someone who would like to do a working holiday visa in Scotland, but that's maybe hesitating?
Yeah, I would actually say don't hesitate on it. Do it while you can, because it's something that you're probably going to regret if you don't do it. I put it off for years and years, and then I finally did it. But for me, I think that was right for me because I believe everything happens for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said earlier, I've been wanting to come to the UK since I was 15. I finally did it when I was 27, and that's actually how I ended up meeting my fiance.
Oh, congratulations.
Thanks.
That's a beautiful story. So thank you so much, Kate, for joining us today and sharing your working holiday visa experience with us. For those of us that are watching us live, it's now your turn to ask your question about the working holiday visa in Scotland. So don't be shy. Write them down below in the comments, and we'll take 2 questions. So let me have a look. All right. Well, the typical weather question. Someone is asking, how's the weather like in Scotland compared to Canada? Do you have the same seasons as here?
The seasons are very similar. I will say it's not as rainy as I thought it would be.
Okay.
So, like, I'm from Southern Ontario. The rain here is pretty similar, but I will say save buying your coats and boots till you're over here, because what you buy from home isn't going to be the right stuff, because when it rains, it pours.
Good to know. Someone else is asking, what do you miss most about Canada?
It's the little thing, apart from my friends and family, obviously. There's just certain things, like there's certain food cravings that I get that they don't have over here.
Like
the crisps taste different. Like I can't get ketchup chips for the life of me, and the cheesies don't taste the same. But that being said, there's foods over here that I know I'm gonna miss once I go back.
Really? Do you have one in particular?
My favorite is going down to a local chippy and getting a battered cheeseburger. So it's a burger with cheese, and then they batter and deep fry it and then put it on a bun.
That sounds like a heart attack waiting to happen.
It is. It is a little bit, but I mean, like Stonehaven, just outside of Aberdeen, is actually the home of the deep fried Mars bar. So
I mean, I
what else?
have deep fried pizza when I was in Scotland. So I feel like anything deep fried would be a good choice in Scotland.
Yeah, a deep fried pizza is a common thing on a chippy menu.
Oh, God. Oh, well, so that wraps up the questions. If you have a question that we didn't answer, write them here in the comments, and we'll make sure to reply to every single one of you. And we'll also have someone from International Experience Canada who can answer any specific questions that you might have about the working holiday visa. So if you also decide to travel and work abroad after the pandemic, you'll find all the details on how to apply for every country, including Scotland, on the International Experience Canada website. So don't forget, we'll put the links in the comments down below. And one last thing, we'll be covering many other exciting destinations where you can apply for a working holiday visa in upcoming events, such as Norway, South Korea, Czech Republic. So don't miss out on them. They're free. And we'll share the links for the other events down below in the comments. So thanks everyone for joining us today. Thanks, Kate, for sharing your working holiday visa experience in Scotland.
Thanks for having me.
Bye.
Bye.